Hello, Elisha. How are you today? How you doing? It's been
I'm
ages
really,
since I've seen you. You good?
I'm good, thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to the Empathic Leadership Summit. And thank you so much for being with me and with all of us here. It's absolutely incredible. Tell me a bit about what you're all about and what your background is. And tell us all.
Thanks, Sinead. I'm really excited to be here and yeah, so honoured to be part of this amazing lineup of some incredible speakers. So
So
thank you for
true,
the
yeah.
invitation. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna share a bit of my bio that I shared with you. So
Perfect.
and what I kind of said is that, after sort of years of looking for a place where I felt like I fit with regard to work, I finally got the memo that actually I could just design my own thing. So and just
That's the memo.
create yeah, exactly, create this thing around me, which has really been a bit of a revelation for me and is working for me. A place where I feel like I can use the best of my gifts, and where I've landed is really in helping people who are, I'm describing them as emerging visionary leaders, or sometimes visionaries in hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, to really draw out their gifts and help them connect their gifts with the people that need them most. That's what I think of marketing as really being. It's
Okay.
like just really this bridge. You've got this
Yes.
great thing here. These people over here need it. Let's bridge them, and that can sometimes be a difficult thing to do,
Yes.
especially if what your gifts don't look like what we see out there all of the time.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
you're a marketing strategist as such. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Okay. So before we talk about this intriguing topic that is Resonant Reach, what a fantastic title. Um, Tell us, what has your experience of empathic leadership been in your own career, or maybe a lack of empathic leadership?
Yeah, sadly, I think mostly, it has been a lack of. I'm
Yeah.
sure that is,
Okay.
something you've heard from others as well. Because for me, I think that empathic leadership is really about getting your heart in on the act, actually. You
Yeah.
know? And so, there can be a story about work and a story about leadership in general, which is like it's structured and it's organized and it's efficient, and we're going somewhere, and like we we're taking no prisoners, we're doing it.
Mm.
And yeah, that really doesn't leave much room for um people, messiness, humanness,
Yeah.
our hearts. um I've really been leaning into the idea that what is um efficient isn't necessarily always the most effective thing, this
Mm.
efficiency, effective
So
thing.
true.
Yeah. So, um, empathic leadership for me, I think it does remember that actually there's a human in here,
Mm.
that there's that we need to, yeah, get our hearts in on the act. Um, and in terms of like what I've experienced in my own journey, what came to mind immediately when I thought about this was when I first started working in an office, like my first office job. So I like had little jobs beforehand, but like my first sort of proper job, my first big job, um, I think it was like my second day or something. And I had like a really horrendous journey into work. The traffic was really terrible, and I was late, really late. I don't remember the specifics, but I was really late. And so, I walk into the office. Um, I was maybe 18, something like that. So
Mm.
I was quite young.
Yeah.
When I see it now, I'm like, oh, poor you, Elisha, 18-year-old. And yeah, I was just gonna, ready to tell my, I think it was the deputy manager at the time, like what had happened. And she just bawled me out. She just like
Mhm.
completely bawled me out. And I was so taken aback. Um, and yeah, I cried. And then the look she gave me when I was crying was I just disgusted her with that.
Mm.
So it was just like layer upon layer of
Yeah.
just like, this is so wrong. And yeah, when I think back to that, like I think I took, I obviously took some lessons from that. There was
Yeah.
a message in that. There isn't room for lateness. There's not room for telling your story about what happened here. There's not room for the human in this,
Mm.
And so because that was, especially because it was quite early on in my
Yeah.
career, I think it really, coloured what I thought of for work, how much of me, how much of the humanness can be brought to work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, that's one example of non-empathic
Oh, that was a tough
leadership.
experience and so young as well, So do you think, so what you're saying is that maybe as a result of that, maybe you learned that it wasn't right to bring much of yourself with you. You know what I mean? Did that experience influence how you behaved after that, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
ask.
yeah, I think so. I
Of
think so.
course, yeah.
It certainly did, and made me more cautious about who to share bits with,
Yeah.
in particular. Um, and yeah, it gave me a definite impression of, yeah, what's allowed at work and what's not allowed at work.
Mm.
Which I think is that is a conversation that is shifting, as we speak.
Yeah.
I work in EDI, and it's all about belonging, and how do we create a culture of belonging? How can we make it clear to people that whatever it is, you can bring your full self to work. All these kind of ideas. The reason why we need that is because we haven't had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that things are changing? Is the tide shifting there in terms of more inclusive environments, where diversity is welcomed, and you know what I mean? Is there hope there in your experience of your work currently?
Yeah, I think absolutely so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do see a shift. I see, I've just come off the back of running a 2-day, or helping to run a 2-day conference, which was all around equality, diversity, and inclusion.
brilliant.
And that was sponsored by the university. So, where people are prepared to put their money, it does show often, what their
Yeah.
priorities are and what's important to them. So that they're not just playing lip service to this, they are putting their money where their mouths are.
Good. Yeah.
And yeah, I do see it making a shift. We want to hear from people. We care about what their experiences are like. Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Shift is happening.
Great. So yes, exactly. Woo. So it was a successful couple of days. The conference was
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really about upskilling and empowering EDI practitioners.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, awesome work.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued with that whole area, because I think that's one of the most empathic sectors within an organization, surely, isn't it?
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
actually empathizing with other people to include them, and to reach for equity, and to reach for diversity. So, yeah, hopefully more and more those people will be empowered. So it's great to hear that you're happy with what you're seeing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just that recognition that if you don't hear from a diverse group of people, then with the best will in the world, you can only like see through your own
Yeah.
eyes, right?
You only
So
get a small little sliver of perspective. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
if you want to see more, then you need to find out what other people think,
Mhm.
especially when it actually impacts them.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about this thing called like an equality impact assessment. And the question was like, when should you do one of these? When should you look at if there are any equality implications for any decision that you're making?
Mm.
And the answer is you should do it whenever there's going to be an impact on people. So
Mhm.
that's always
Yeah, like
basically.
all the time. Like yesterday is when you should have done it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
any decision that you make is going to have an impact on somebody somewhere, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
like always just like, listen,
Always do it.
yeah.
Mm. Okay, that's a fantastic message, actually. Yeah, that's a great one. We're gone off topic, but when you mentioned the area
I
you work
knew
in,
we were.
I had to jump on it. So tell us, what is Resonant Reach? It's such a beautiful concept. I just love the sound of it.
Oh, thank you, Sinead. Yeah, to me, it is it's the application of like what we're talking about here. So putting your heart into it, remembering that everybody has a heart of their own and a perspective of their own. So how can we do marketing or think about marketing in a different way so that we can lead with empathy? I mean, when I was thinking about starting up my business, I kind of looked out at the online world, and I had a lot of reluctance to kind of get involved. And that's really because of the way that I saw marketing being done. And I didn't sort of realize that at the time. This is like me looking back with hindsight now and seeing like what was going on for me. Why did I not just get on with it? And I think I didn't see that there was a place for me and the way that I wanted to be in the world within what I could see. So I
Okay.
think there's wisdom in that. Like I was just like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I know, I know. And like, I mean, I hear you, as a business owner,
Yeah.
and I've been kind of on the marketing treadmill for a good few years now. And it's not something I love to do. It's not an arena I love to be in. You know what I mean? So how do you see that it could be improved, or what is the resonant reach element of maybe this new approach? Tell us.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is that you don't have to you don't have to just jump in and join in with what everybody else is
Yeah.
doing, you know. And with what we were talking about with the equality, diversity, and inclusion work, if we kept on doing what we've always been doing, then workplaces won't be a place where everybody feels like they belong, like everybody
Mhm.
has a voice and all that stuff. So if we continue to do what we see everybody else doing in the marketing world, then it will be the same,
Yeah.
you know.
Probably
Um,
already is in many ways.
sorry.
It probably already is a bit like that, like, because there's a real echo chamber, isn't there, particularly with social media, that you only know your own little echo chamber, what you've created online.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
it's so difficult to kind of think, oh, could there be a different way of doing this? What if, I love that question often, like
Yeah.
that just kind of gets the mind thinking, gets your
Mm.
heart thinking, perhaps, if you can shut your mind up for a moment enough
Yeah,
to
yeah.
actually hear what your heart would love to do here. And so um, what I'm seeing and what I've kind of been playing with is this idea of, so what I think resonant reach marketing, like at the heart of it, is really, if you got to make it up as you wanted to, how would you like to market? How would you like to spread your message?
Mm.
So quieten down all the way it's being done, all the shoulds, all the stuff that you've internalized over time to be like, this is the way it has to be, and scrap it, start with a blank page, and engage your heart into this. How would I love to do it? How would I love to connect with my people?
Mm.
How do I think or feel that they would love to connect with me? How would they love to hear from me? Rather than this idea of blasting out and in attention grabbing, interrupting marketing. um, and for me, I think that the um, when you start from that place, when you start from like that blank page place, you can come up with something different,
Mm.
something that resonates with you.
Mm.
That is the most likely thing to also resonate with the people that you're trying to reach, because you are not trying to reach everybody. That, I think that's one of the things that really
Yeah, so
drives this thing, you know. Oh, I've got to get my message out there. Just got to get it out there to everybody. No, because your work is not for everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, your
yeah.
work is for a very, very particular group of people.
Mm.
A very, it's like a sliver of a slice of a slice of a slice. So you don't need to reach everybody. And so just like, as soon as I hear that, that just takes some tension away. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, me too. I feel it. It's lovely. I'm kind of going, oh, like after this call, I'm just going to get the blank page and just feel into it. You know what I mean? Because I suppose as a business owner, I've trained with people, I've learned from people, I've followed methods, I've looked at techniques, I've been taught about funnels and all the things. And
yeah.
it never occurred to me to kind of go strip it all away and just go with the blank page and feel into it. So that's some wisdom for sure. And do you think in that case it would look very different for each individual?
Yes, it has to.
It has to.
I think it has to, like, and this is another thing that I think is, important to kind of talk about here is uh, what when I work with somebody, like if I pay for a program or whatever, so I'm taking a chance because I don't really know what it's going to be like until I get into it, right?
Mhm.
But what about if your marketing felt like you'd scooped up a bit of your work and just gave it to me?
Mm.
What if it felt like that? So when I see your messaging and when I see your marketing, it's like an actual experience of being with you, of
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
with you. So
Oh,
that
right.
actually I'm like, oh, I love it.
Mm.
So if I love it, this little taste,
Mm.
then I will love working with you.
Mm.
And I think it's just coming from a completely different place.
Mm.
What do I want people to experience?
That's amazing. I have
Finding it from
goosebumps, I swear to God, because like, the scooping up a little bit, that would have been very intuitive to me to just share that little bit, you know what I mean? And to do that. But then the message out there is always like, from a business perspective, share the what, not the how. You know what I mean? Because there's always this like trickery, or there's always this kind of place where you have to preempt what the potential customer will or won't do. And I think that's the kind of, that's the kind of manipulative place that I've never liked being in.
Mm.
Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So, but how do you balance, here's my question. How do you balance that with giving it all away? You know what I mean? We all need to make a living and protect ourselves and have our boundaries and, have equal energy exchange, etc., etc. So for HSPs, for empaths, empathic leaders who are out there and want to get the message out, they naturally want to give it all away.
Mm.
But then there comes a point where they need to be sustained. So where's the line there, do you feel?
Yeah. I don't think that it's yeah, I don't see the giving it all away. I'm like, just take a
A
scoop.
scoop. All
This is
right.
the
That's
this
what
is
I have to
the
remember.
river. Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
the river of your work, right?
Yeah.
Just take a scoop, a
Yeah.
little, a little cup of it, and here, try this.
Try
And
this.
what
Yeah.
what that might look like for you, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a unique thing.
Yeah.
So two things to mention here. One, about like all the things that you've like learned, like you talked about the funnels and all the rest of it. So once upon a time, none of those things existed.
Mm.
So somebody had an idea that this would be a thing to try.
Mm.
And so now they're putting it out like, this is the rules, this is the way that it works. Maybe that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but what happens is that we internalize it, or we're like, okay, that's the rules, that's how it has to be. And if you believe that is how it has to be, then that will be your experience.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there could be another
100%.
way. There
Yeah.
could be another way. So what if there is another way?
Yeah.
So start with that and just kind of play with that.
Mm.
It'd be like to give somebody an experience of me in a way that really felt good to me, because that would likely feel good to your ideal client as well, because
Mm.
so often there is this resonance, this like get almost soul deep resonance, right?
Yeah.
So how can you convey that? What would be exciting to you to do? What would be an exciting way for you to do that? Because
Mm-hmm.
that excitement and that energy will come through. I've said I was going to say two things, but actually I've thought of a third thing. But also, okay, so the second thing I was going to say was about how important self-trust is in all of this. Because, you know, you and I have talked before about like education and what schooling does v what I believe it's supposed to do, which is like schooling is like, here, learn all these things, blah, 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 take it all in, and then you can later regurgitate it, and then you get a gold star. Whereas the real, like the true definition of education was really just to draw out the gold, like draw out the genius in somebody, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Completely twisted. So, and one of the things that that process does is break that self-trust connection, because instead of you thinking, oh, actually there's something good in here, some gold in here that I need to listen to and bring out, you instead go, okay, what was the thing that I read that said that I should do, you know? So
External, yeah.
exactly. And so then when you try to bring that into marketing your business when you're not built like that,
Yeah.
it's a disaster. Of
It
course.
is. Of course it's not going to work. Yes. Yeah.
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 There was something else I was going to say about it all.
Oh yeah, there was a third. There was a
Yeah,
third nugget there.
there was a third that came and then has gone again.
Oh,
So,
it floated off. Okay,
yeah,
maybe it will come back.
yeah.
Okay, so what in your own journey led you to this idea?
Well, you know, like I said about like looking out at that marketing world and like just not knowing how I could fit into that. You know, I had no, and it's not that I didn't try. I did try. You know, I'm definitely a experimenting type of person. So I'd be like, okay, I've read all the books and I would do it. And it was feeling so off to me. I couldn't go all the way into it.
Mhm.
And so then what I found myself doing is doing this kind of like half-hearted marketing. Like I'm just doing it because I think I have to do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us find ourselves in that place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that comes across, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about energy. We know that this stuff's
All
important.
energy. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if you're kind of like, you're almost embarrassed about the way you're doing it, you know, what kind of energy is that?
Energy's off there, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so
Remember the thing.
oh great.
Yeah.
Great, go for it.
Well, just because I think all of this this talk can sound a little bit airy fairy.
It was actually my question was exactly that, like
Oh,
the
really?
practicalities. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Sorry,
great.
go on with your thought.
And I read something recently that was talking about there's some sort of famous quote in copywriting, I believe, but I can't remember it. But it's basically it says something like about being a poet and being a killer, this phrasing. And so and that the best combination is being a poet and a killer. I mean, I don't love the word in killer, but
Okay.
what they're saying really is that the poet bit of you is the bit that wants to lead with your heart and wants to you know, bring forth the soul message. And then the killer part, the head, maybe a nicer way of saying it, you can bring that bit in afterwards. Just don't let your head lead it all. So make sure that that core message and that energy has come through with that heart and soul resonance. And then absolutely bring your head in. Like that's all of you, right? You know, it would be remiss to be like, okay, I'm just gonna just head only. It's lead with your heart, but bring your head in as well. So then how can we, once we've got our idea that we want to bring that core message, how can we bring our head in now at this point to be like, okay, well, what's the best way to kind of use the tools that we've got at our disposal to amplify, share it, and
Yeah.
whatever.
And meet the realities of what's there in front of us in online business, for example. You know, it's not like we're going to change the algorithms or the trends and the culture that's out there overnight, but it's about leveraging them. Is that what you're saying? It's about using them to our advantage.
I think that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Like, honestly, I have goosebumps with all of this. It's absolutely fantastic. And you've given us so much to think about today. Do you have a website or anything that we can point people to so they can learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Sinead. Work Your Brilliance is my website, so you can pop along there. And actually, I'm I'm toying with a new program at the moment as well. Can I share a little bit about
Surely,
that?
go for it.
Yeah, thank you. And it's basically it's trying to lead people through this process, walk with them, I guess, through this process
Brilliant.
of like really building up that self-trust muscle is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And then the second part of it really is about then how to powerfully communicate what your true message is. And so the ways that I do that is really through seeing you. I think this is a big part, like actually seeing the depths of you, especially with when it comes to HSPs. We've got a lot going on under the surface, and not everybody can necessarily hold that. Often does take, I think, another HSP to be able to hold some of that.
Indeed, yeah.
And also to kind of see and hold that vision that you've got. Because we are human, so we have these big visions and we want them and they seem so real. And then we have our human wobbles and we think, oh, maybe I made that up. But in those moments, if you've got somebody else that can help hold that vision for you, that I've learned is a gold thing to actually have in your corner.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
And then there's the storytelling bit of it, which is like seeing the stories that you're telling yourself that are playing into how you're showing up. So that's the internal stories. And then there's the external stories. Like, how are we going to actually tell the story of your work in the most powerful and impactful ways, in the most genuine ways as well?
Wow, amazing. Sounds fantastic. I hope you're toying with it a little bit more. You're saying you're toying with it, but I mean, that definitely needs to be brought into the world. It sounds fantastic. Well done. And I have to add, so anyone who's watching, that Elisha is a fabulous poet as well. So maybe, is it on Facebook? Sometimes you offer some of your poems. Where can people find those?
Yeah, I'm in the process of bringing them onto my website. So
okay, good. So they'll be there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, because they are stunning. I know that from the past.
Thank you.
Amazing, Elisha. Thank you so much for your time, for your energy today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much, Sinead.
Take care.
Great. Take care. Bye-bye.